So if you've been living under a social media rock and you don't know who this Chris guy is, or even Mr. Beast, quite frankly, you're kind of lucky to not be versed on all this stuff going on. But let me get you up to speed. So Mr. Beast, the most popular YouTuber currently, to my knowledge, who rose to fame for doing some pretty intense challenge videos, as well as just having a heck ton of money that he gave away to a bunch of people, some less fortunate and some just for fun, just in the streaming world. His friend, who apparently has been in a lot of his videos, named Chris, has come out as transgender. And now this has been a huge problem for a lot of people because Mr. Beast has been known for being apolitical and a channel that is directed toward a lot of children. So because of that, a lot has just surfaced on what's going on with this Chris character. It's just really shady, and there's just a lot to dive into. So let me cover this the best that I can, which at the time of me filming this, Chris has deactivated his Twitter, to my understanding, because of a lot of this backlash and because, quite frankly, a lot of dirt has come up on this dude. And it's just not a good look. It's not a good look for him, and it's especially not a good look for Mr. Beast, who is put in a difficult situation to where he feels like he needs to defend his friend, but also it's just not boding well for parents, especially of children who were watching his channel before. And I don't really blame them for it. But let's just start with this tweet right here, because I just think this gives us a good picture of what exactly is going on for those who just haven't been up to speed. So this tweet says, "I still can't get over the fact that God has given this man everything 90% of other men would wish for: money, a beautiful wife, and a healthy child. Yet he leaves it all of this behind and decides to delve into sexual degeneracy, the sexual degeneracy pipeline. God has forsaken this man. He shall regret it all one day." I mean, I think that I speak for a ton of people in that. What could motivate this? How does one go from this, having a beautiful family, and just throwing it all away for this? It's exactly what the description says. This is degeneracy. And this is one reason why we have to stop promoting this stuff to people. And I know a lot of people are scared to even say this, but I'm not, so I will be saying it. And I do think that while it is very sad that there are some people who struggle with their body and they feel like they've got to do things like this to feel more comfortable, it's safe to say it's not healthy. At best, it is a mental illness. And at worst, which we have seen time and time again, and I just saw a tweet thread on this, is that the transgender movement, a lot of it, most of it, at least half of those identifying as transgender are just, it's a fetish to them. They get off as guys who dress as women, so on and so forth. I saw another tweet thread about this yesterday, which made a lot of sense, to where it basically said, if you really want to unpack just what a lot of the transgender movement is and a lot of perversion involved in it, look at Reddit threads. Look at, or it was Facebook groups. There's Facebook groups for male to female transgender people, as well as Facebook groups of female to male transgender. And the difference was just jarring. The female to male transgender group had people giving advice, talking about their body insecurities, so on and so forth. And the male to female transgender group was predominantly these men posting slutty pictures of themselves in dresses and wigs and just very pornographic type content that is spread throughout there. Now, most transgender people in general are male to female, okay? And obviously they're not actually female, but they pose themselves as male to female. And as you see on social media, even a lot of them get into like pornographic type stuff, because for the most part, and for a huge chunk of it, it truly is just degeneracy. It's sexual degeneracy. It's kink. It's disgusting. The fact that they are involving children in this, especially. So I think for a lot of people, we felt sorry for them, and we just thought, we took the whole thing a lot more. We had compassion on people because, like, most people want to have compassion for others. And I think a lot more has been exposed as in this movement and what it truly is. I mean, there's a reason why the Bible is against it. All right. So now let's just get into more of some of the controversy surrounding Chris in particular, right? So here he has a tweet. So Allie here, she tweeted this. She said, in a tweet that he just deleted, Chris from Mr. Beast, who recently announced he's transitioning to be a woman, says he likes this. All right, I'm not going to read this out loud, all this kind of stuff. And if you don't know what this is, essentially what that is it's drawings of anime girls that look like children, but there's often some sort of lore or backstory that says, oh, well, she's 1,000 years old, but she's has this magical stuff going on, and so she forever looks like a child. And not even, I mean, it's just a very, 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 very young child too, which just makes this all the worse. Now, I didn't know this before. I used to think what this meant was just petite women, and that's what a lot of people try to act like. Oh, it's just petite women. Not all women are super womanly and curvy. I'm not. But this is a difference. This isn't just petite women. This is characters drawn to look like sometimes toddlers, and just say they're older than what they look, because that's their way of just getting away with it. All right. So anyway, this describes it as well. So he said here, nothing gets my knob a cranking like some. Okay. That is very, very disturbing. And here you'll see too, he made this video and someone tweeted this and it said, Chris, don't you identify as an attack helicopter and have always dreamed of dropping hot, sticky. This is hard for me to read because it's just gross. On foreigners over the oil fields, and I'm having plastic surgery to attach a rotor and a 30mm cannon, this, that, and the other. Okay.
An attack helicopter.
So this isn't one thing that does make me feel like a lot of what's going on with social media in general and people getting a lot of attention on this. I think a lot of people are doing this for attention as well. And the fact that, how do you go from making this to identifying as
attack helicopter? Ever since I was a boy, I dreamed of
as
soaring
transgender,
over the oil fields, dropping hot, sticky loads on disgusting foreigners. People say to me that a person being a helicopter is impossible. I'm having a plastic surgeon install rotary blades, 30mm.
So yeah, he's mocked the transgender community before because, I mean, it's easy to make jokes about it. We know just how outlandish and absurd a lot of this is. And people want to call me transphobic all the time. That's fine. Call me transphobic. I don't care, because at the end of the day, and like I said earlier, at best is a mental illness. We shouldn't wish this for anybody, and we certainly shouldn't be celebrating it so we can sympathize with people who are actually suffering with this condition. But the amount of people that are actually suffering with said mental illness and condition are few and far between. It's become just a popular thing because of attention. And then, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of it is a fetish as well. And then we'll see here that this is his son, I believe. And he, this looks like a Snapchat picture where his son is wearing high heels. And he says, Tucker chose to slay this morning. I think this is just a lot compiled here. When you have these tweets of him tweeting about this, you just see there's just something really wrong about this. Okay, there's something really wrong about this. And then now, don't like it. Don't like it. That's not good. Now, here I wanted to share. Okay, now also before that, let me just share this tweet that also was deleted. And it is real. I made sure before I shared this screenshot that it existed. At the time of me tweeting this, it did exist. I'm sure somebody's archived it as well. So I made what I said in the caption of this tweet says, this is what happens when you give dudes ongoing artificial PMS through HRT. You can't pump a person with unnatural hormones, then act all surprised Pikachu face when they act violent. Okay, and so then this is where he said, I did also hate seeing the hate for me turn into just general transphobia. So I'm trying to make it known, make fun of me all you want, but mess with the trans homies and well, and then there's an emoji of a gun. Now, this is just violent. And I think especially this is in bad taste after the shooting that just happened at that Christian school. But I think that this is partially a byproduct of the fact that these people are being pumped with unnatural hormones that don't belong in their bodies. And so it's going to make them react in different ways. I don't even think that this is totally, you can't put all the blame on that either. That isn't an excuse to just be violent. But I think when you take people who already have violent tendencies or who already lack a strong moral character and you do this, it's definitely going to push them more. Now, note how, and some people wanted to come back at this and say, well, what about conservatives that talk about self-defense all the time? This isn't a tweet about self-defense. Notice how the actual focal point here is make fun of me all you want. Okay? Make fun of the trans community, blah, blah, blah. You know, he's like, okay, I can handle it, but you mess with my homies and, well, that is not a good look. This doesn't look like a self-defense style tweet. And again, like I said, this is in very bad taste given what just recently happened. All right. So now we're going to dive into a little bit of a conspiracy theory. Obviously, this may be absolutely insane and there may not be any truth to it, but I just found it interesting and wanted to bring this to light just to speculate on that. So this is a tweet where this guy goes, got to be one of the biggest L's in recorded history, which is true. I mean, look how just wholesome this looks. Again, like the other tweet said, I mean, this is the dream for so many men. And then just this. Okay. This is sad for him and it's really sad for his family. I don't know what's going on like with his wife and stuff. I'd be very curious to know her actual opinions on the matter, but I mean, this is just tragic. So anyway, Bounty Faceless here says, bro, he got paid $1 million to do this, which some people are saying he got paid $1 million to do this, which I'll dive into some of the evidence as to the receipts as to why people think that. HRT, and it's only been 2 months. I mean, dude, here's a guy who, you know, he's just a normal guy and changes himself into this. And this is being celebrated. This is sad. This is very sad. Beautiful family. Just throw it all away for just to look like a dude with long hair and a soft body. Doesn't look like a woman. Okay, so what? Why? Why? You can't change why. I don't know. But anyway, let's dive more into this conspiracy theory. So this is where the Poet Trap shares this receipt. Okay, now this does look like it's come from like 4chan or something. So take this with a grain of salt. It may not be true. But after I read this more, I did find it fascinating for multiple reasons. All right, let me just dive more into it. So this says, did you know that Asmongold, and he's a streamer, and Mr. Beast belong to the same talent agency? And that they are both directly connected to Disney and Amazon. Interesting. Today I learned that the company named Night Media literally manages basically every single Zoomer E-celebrity, including Hassan Piker, Nico Lull, Dream, and these guys. If you ever look at the YouTube trending tab, at least one of Night's talents will be up there. Night Media is just a subsidiary as Night Incorporated. Itself is valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars from venture capitalists and angel investors. Who owns Night? The CEO of Night Media is Reed Dutcher, who formerly worked for the NFL, and then went on to be Dude Perfect's manager, which Dude Perfect is another really big YouTuber. The president of Night Incorporated is Ezra Cooperstein, who was previously the president of Fullscreen and Rooster Teeth. Fullscreen, I used to be signed by Fullscreen back when YouTubers had MCNs, multi-channel networks. If you've been on YouTube for a long time, you'll know. I ended up parting ways with Fullscreen in like 2016 or 17, I believe. Unrelated reasons. I personally wasn't privy to any corruption going on at the time in that general sense. But yeah. As well as Maker Studios, which Maker Studios was huge back in the day, which is now part of the Disney Digital Network. Now, while I was with Fullscreen, I did film a pilot with Disney Channel, Disney XD. It was for a gaming show that I was going to host, and it ended up not getting picked up. But I did host 3 episodes at E3 of a little mini gaming series that they did specifically for that time at E3. So there's definitely some sort of connection there between Fullscreen and Disney, at least to that capacity that they had worked together, because I know Fullscreen had other talent that they had to audition for these roles. Now, this happened for me back in 2016 or 17, right before I left Fullscreen. Okay, so ironically, neither of these guys are the real talent managers, as that position is for their 90 plus employees, including Andrew Pelosi, a former higher up at Influential. What is Influential, you ask? Influential is an AI social data and conversion technology, as well as a developer partner of IBM Watson and a Facebook marketing partner, utilizing a network of over 1 million social media influencers as a tactic for distribution. Influential runs both native and paid campaigns on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and YouTube for Fortune 500 brands. Influential is owned by Jeremy Steinberg. Night Inc. is directly financed by the Chernin Group, aka TCG, one of its executive members being Alexandra Moore, a former executive from Amazon who focused on mergers and acquisitions. However, TCG itself is financed by Providence Equity, an ESG-compliant private equity investment firm valued at over $30 billion. All of this information is freely available. I literally just ran the names off LinkedIn and read business articles, okay? And then you see this, and this is that tweet that I just pulled up here, where he said, sold his soul for $1 million. So as you can see in this tweet, he's replying to somebody who probably had something negative to say about him, and he says, ratio this, and then we will talk. And this was a screenshot of a bank wire sent to him on February 10th, okay, for $1 million. Okay, now what's interesting about this is he says HRT, and it's only been 2 months. Okay, so from the date that he received this wire, it was just days shy of 2 months of him, 5 days shy of 2 months of him making this tweet. That's suspicious. Okay, so maybe this is just one giant conspiracy and there's no truth to it, but it's definitely suspicious. It definitely does make me wonder a lot of things. I know, having been involved in the content creation space as long as I have, and seeing how there are definitely ties between some of these companies, it's definitely worth pondering. And people might be like, what is the motivation? What is this, that, and the other? I mean, dude, we know already just the corruption that's going on in Hollywood and the music industry, very satanic, right? And they're pushing these kind of ideologies to people. Why wouldn't? Okay, why wouldn't the powers that be, the evil forces, why wouldn't Satan want his hands in YouTube and content creation has blown up to such massive proportions that it is right now? If we already see Satan's influence in Hollywood and in the music industry, of course he would have his grubby hands involved in YouTube and all that as well. People want to call me crazy, a crazy Jesus freak. Call me what you want, but we truly are in a battle against principalities, evil forces, this isn't just a flesh and blood thing, right? So I absolutely believe that there's a huge demonic element to the transgender ideology. And I do think it's being pushed on people. And what a better channel to push and promote this kind of stuff when you're looking at the eyes of, corruption and evil here than the most popular YouTube channel, Mr. Beast. Obviously, it wasn't Mr. Beast himself who's going through this stuff, but there's still some involvement there. And then Mr. Beast is put in a situation to where he feels like he needs to defend his friend, but his channel's also going to take a huge hit in doing so. This is just a bad spot for him in general, in my opinion. But I mean, he's got so much money, he's going to be fine regardless. But that's my take on it. I can't really give that much info beyond that because, like I said, I left Fullscreen a long time ago, and I've just been managing myself and being completely independent myself ever since because there were things I didn't like about Fullscreen. There were things that I didn't like about certain managers that I have worked with who did shady things and I felt like stole money from me. That's a whole other topic. But that's one reason why. And then I had another agency try to sign me a couple years or so ago. And I passed on that as well because it just seemed like a really predatory contract. I like to just manage myself. And people ask all the time, why don't you work with an agency? Why don't you do this? And then it's like, I'm just like, hey, if some agency wants to bring me a specific brand deal that I happen to like and that I want to work with, okay, but I'm not signing, especially not signing no exclusive contract and to have my image and to have myself managed, my social media, all this kind of stuff managed by somebody else. I do what I do because I like to get my opinions out there and all that kind of stuff. The last thing I need is some management company telling me what I can or can't say, managing all that, which they do try to do. To at least some degree. So anyway, there you have it for this video. This has just been a bunch of craziness going on, and it's just sad to see that, I think it's sad to see just how corrupt and just how evil a lot of what is being pushed in social media and what is being pushed in front of children and what is involving children in terms of this transgender ideology, which is just evil. It's corrupt, it's evil, it's wrong. And I'm definitely not saying that every single person who calls themselves transgender are evil people. But I do think, like I said earlier, at best it is a mental condition or demonic oppression, which I mentioned demonic oppression in my Spider-Verse video. And so many people who don't really have an understanding on Christianity don't know the difference between demonic oppression and demonic possession. And so they're just, oh, you're saying every trans person is possessed? Wow, oh my gosh. Like I said, there's a difference between demonic oppression and demonic possession. Now, while there can be some who are possessed, demonic oppression is not necessarily possession. So, that transgender person that you like and that you think's a cool person or whatever, and you think might just be mixed up into something. I'm not saying that they're possessed. I'm not saying that at all. But anyway, there you have it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will catch you next time. And in the meantime, go boom.